All right, let's focus now on what we're all waiting for, and that, of course, is coming up at 3:30. Inflation is on the rise, and we are likely to see another interest rate hike. That is due on Thursday, but right now we are awaiting an announcement from the Reserve Bank Governor. And I'm joined now by Economist Dawie Roodt from Pretoria. Dawie, thank you so much for your time. I mean, we've got about 6 minutes before we're expecting this meeting. And I'm asking you about it because I know that the economic world is abuzz. Everyone going, what's going on? How unusual is this kind of sudden meeting?
Of the Reserve Bank, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank. It's not really that unusual. In fact, they meet every 2 months. They get together every 2 months, and then they decide on the repo rate. So the meetings will start.
Sorry, Dawie. Sorry to interrupt, Dawie. What I'm talking about is the meeting they're making an announcement at 3:30. You're aware of that?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Oh,
the Reserve Bank making an announcement. No,
yes, let me bring you up to speed. What happened is literally about an hour and a half ago, we all started getting messages that there's an emergency announcement or an immediate announcement coming from Lesetja Kganyago, and that he's going to be making some sort of announcement at 3:30. There's speculation that it could be linked to possible another member of the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee, which might indicate some sort of change. But there isn't a lot of clarity at all about what they might discuss. And it's strange because, of course, as you say, it's not unusual to have an interest rate hike on a Thursday. We were all expecting that. But this meeting and this announcement is happening in the next 5 minutes. So you haven't heard too much about it.
No, but what I can tell you is that the rand is under some pressure. Obviously, the financial markets do not like uncertainty like this. The last time, if I remember correctly, when the Reserve Bank had a similar sort of meeting, when they announced the change to the bank notes, where the artwork on the bank notes were changed. That happened a couple of years ago, in fact. That's the last time that I can remember of a similar kind of unusual meeting that was called by the Reserve Bank. An emergency meeting, I can't recall of having heard of an emergency meeting previously. But what I can tell you is that the rand is suddenly, the last couple of minutes, under some pressure, and it is currently trading at 16.23 to the US dollar.
All right, so the rand is under some pressure. I'm wondering if it's partly due to the news of this announcement, because we know the markets hate uncertainty. But we also know, Dawie, that in terms of our inflation targets, we're bouncing right against that ceiling of that 3 to 6% range. We were on 5.9% in March. We're expected to hit 6% in April. How much further is inflation likely to climb?
Yeah, in fact, there's a significant increase in the petrol price around the corner, depending on whether the Minister of Finance is going to extend this tax holiday and the fuel levy a bit longer. That could be the case. But there's a huge increase that can be expected on the petrol price, and I'm afraid it's likely to push inflation above 6%, perhaps even well above 6%. Internationally, when you talk about the United States, for instance, it seems as if inflation has turned there, but at a level of in excess of 8%. I don't think we're going to see that high levels of inflation in South Africa, but I will not be surprised if we see inflation getting close to about 7% or so in South Africa, perhaps a little bit higher. We're probably going to see, if we are lucky, depending on many things like the exchange rate of the currency, we might see that the currency can turn around, or the inflation rate can turn around about 2 or 3 months' time or so. But for now, we're probably still in an upward trajectory as far as inflation is concerned. And maybe if I can speculate on a meeting of the Reserve Bank this afternoon, I know that Lesetja Kganyago has indicated a number of times previously that he would like to see inflation targeted band narrowed. From currently 3 to 6%, he would like to see a narrower band. And in fact, he mentioned he preferred a point target, and I support him on that. I think we need a point target, and we need a point target lower than 4.5%. So there could be the possibility, certainly is there, that the change in inflation targets could be announced this afternoon. But I would suspect that is probably the prerogative of the Minister of Finance and not of the Reserve Bank to make such an announcement.
All right. The other thing, you mentioned the rand has come under some severe pressure just in the last couple of hours. We also know that the price of wheat has reached record highs.
Yes.
What is that going to do to inflation?
Well, that certainly is depending who you are, because if you're a lower income category individual in South Africa, that will have a significant impact on your consumer basket. Poorer people spend more of their money on food than wealthier people. Wheat and grains basically form the basis of food prices. It filters through not only to bread, as an example, but to meat prices as well. Chicken, for example, is closely correlated to wheat prices and maize prices as well. So I'm afraid we are probably going to see a significant further increase in the price of foodstuffs over the next couple of months. And there are many reasons for that. One important reason has to do with the war currently in Central Europe. The Ukraine and Russia are two major exporters of grain, and not only them, India is also a major exporter of grain, and they've just started their exports of grain coming from India. So I'm afraid there's a good possibility of some shortages of certain grain stuffs globally, and I think certain countries in the world may actually experience some hunger later this year.
All right, so Dawie, we are expecting this meeting to start quite soon, so I might have to rudely interrupt you, but I'm going to keep chatting as long as I possibly can.
You're welcome.
You know, this cost of living crisis, it's a global thing now. So, you know, it seems like we're all in for a really bumpy ride. Are you thinking that we're likely to head for like a global recession?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that the world economy is going to slow down. There's little doubt about that. The IMF, the World Bank, all the major institutions already indicated that the expectations for economic growth this year,
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, because
Sure.
the meeting has just started. We're going to listen in live. Thank you so much for chatting to us.